Alright, I've got a Haas VF3. This is our mill 2 on our CNC mills. I'm just going to walk through quickly how to set up, get the vise squared up, and I'm really leading that into our next video on how to get the probe set up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this vise. This vise is loose. It's just sitting on the table. This is how we would normally find the machine, sitting here. Everything's stripped away, sitting on the table, just ready to go. So first thing I'm going to do is flip over the vise. I'm going to clean the table off. So I got a lot of coolant left on there from the last time that we had ran this. This was just yesterday evening. Get the surfaces nice and clean. Slide it in. Set both of our T-nuts and socket head cap screws down, and we're going to grab an indicator and we're going to square this thing up, and it shouldn't take very long. So one of the first things I'm going to do after I got my bolts in, I'm going to go ahead and snug one side down. And once one side's down, I can use it as my pivot. I've got my dead blow hammer with me, and I'm going to use a test indicator, and I'm going to grab it and an adapter so I can put it up in the spindle. So I'm using the dovetail on this adapter. I'm going to set it in here, get it mounted in, and then I'll mount it up in a drill chuck. So if you can see, what I have is my indicator in the dovetail snugged up in this holder. So it's loose, sitting here. I'm going to go ahead and grab a drill chuck. Go ahead and load it up in the machine. I'm going to clean the taper up, make sure that it's free of any debris, make sure the taper inside of here is free of any debris. If I don't know where the dogs are on the spindle, I can go ahead and close the doors. I can go and I can hit orientate the spindle. Get the spindle orientated. The hole always goes to the right. So I've got a hole in the in the tool. I'm going to press my release button, set my tool up in there, release it. Got my hole to the right. Now right now the spindle is locked, and so if I want to loosen that up, all I gotta do is hit reset. I can loosen that spindle so it'll be free to move. In this position, I don't really care. I'm okay with it being totally rigid through here. Bring this down. I'm going to run this across this vise jaw and make sure that it is running true. So I go over here to my rigid part, and so I've got my bolt tight here. I've got my indicator down here, and as I do this, I'm just going to come in and bring my indicator in. Set my axis to X. I can see I've got quite a bit of movement there. Full rotation on the indicator. So over here I'm at about -4.5. Try and get back close to that. I want to try and get within a thou across this. want to make sure as I'm doing this that I'm not coming off of the indicator, because I don't want it to look like I'm nice and true but not actually touching it at all. So I'm at 0 all the way across. I'm at about 3 thousandths. Bring it over to 0. So I'm within about 5/10 as I go across. Got a little nick in the vise jaw there. I'll go ahead and tighten this other side down. As I'm tightening it, I'm going to keep going back across it. Make sure that I'm nice and snug. I've got both sides now. I am within about 5/10. My vise is nice and tight. I'll check it for vertical movement in the vise jaw, but it should be pretty good. So that's what we need to do to get our vises on the machine, get them squared up. When we're done with them, they need to be left on the table, the bolts released from them.